Hi everybody, it's Julia with Dog Training Anytime. This video is being made for a parent who is now almost done with our 2-week board and train program, and we did not use e-collars. And so what I'm going to do is go through all the commands as well as human behavior, because when dogs go home from any kind of board and train program, you're teaching the humans the way to make sure that the training stays. So it's never just the dog, being trained. It's just like getting a computer. You'd have to really understand how to work it. These days is how to understand how to work an AI. So here is my girl, Hurley, and she's a young lab. So the first thing I want any parent to always think about is what creates distractions for a dog and how much exercise and energy they need to have to be a calm dog, to hang out, to not destroy the home. So remember, anytime we have a young dog, it's like having a toddler in the home. They grow up much faster. Second thing you got to remember is they are not a human. They are a dog animal that lives with a dog pack that has their own language. So I always tell parents, remember, and this is all in the ebook that I give parents to look at, and this way you can not only see it video, but see it and read it and review it. The biggest mistakes that humans make before they even start talking to their dog is they have a lot of different words they use. They haven't really taught them what those words are, and they are not a word-speaking animal. They are a body language with sound animal, right? So they could go to Europe, Germany, China, and America and all be speaking the same language. So that's very different than the human, although we all speak a lot of the same human body language. Now we give our children repetition after repetition, and we let them go through almost years. But let's say a baby to a toddler, just need to see what she's doing, is really important to give them the time and make sure, again, that whoever's teaching them are all on the same page, right? You wouldn't want someone at your school teaching your child a different language, and then you're coming home and they're hearing our language. It would be very confusing and hard for the child to learn, as well as humans. Humans have a very difficult time learning to replace a behavior to another, and that's really what training is. You're teaching them commands that they would not need in the dog world. They don't sit for each other under command. They don't come to each other. They're a pack. They're with each other 24/7. So even separation anxiety comes from the fact that we have to teach our dog confidence in being on their own, and that does take months. And what our behaviors as the family indicate how that's going to go success-wise. So the first thing that parents have to do is look at the ebook and look at the behavior, and then start looking at the commands that everyone as a union will use. So when I go to training with parents at home or wherever it may be, if I get them all together, they'll all say before they get together, we all use the same language. We all said the same commands. Then you get everybody together and there's a whole different history. So the dog has had to learn different body language, different words, not even getting a chance to understand what's paired to that behavior. And I'll give you a really good example of this, and I hope everybody who watches this remembers. So when I first started out in my 20s, I had a pretty big kennel out in Northern California. And I had trained dolphins and horses up to that point. So working with humans and I said dolphins, I hope I said not dogs. But anyways, now I'm working with dogs at this point. And I had a client that came pretty far to have us work with their dog, and they were 2 Rottweilers, and he just loved his dogs. Those were his kids. So his intention, always good, always want the best for the dog. But he came to me saying, Julia, they know what they do wrong. So this was chewing up a couch, peeing in the house. I said, okay, so you've caught them in the act. No, I show them what they've done after I've found it. Well, number one, we wouldn't even do that to a baby, a human one. But it happens to dogs all the time. They do chew. That's their normal entertainment. So we're putting them in an environment to actually fail if we don't train them and confine them and set them up. And then remember, they're a pack animal, so they would learn from their other members. We take them away at 8 and 10 weeks old. Actually, anymore, it seems like 6 weeks old, which is horrible. Social skills aren't happening. Learning how to use their mouth aren't happening. But anyways, let's get back. So I then went step on outside. So he left, and I poured water, and the dogs were with me on the floor. I said, come on back in. The dogs acted just as if they had peed. And I said, their behavior, you see, represents they know something in the floor, something torn up, something peed on, gets them in trouble. They really don't understand what act could change that situation. So that would have been proper potty training and set up in a way that may take a while, but definitely structured for the dog. So think about that in any training you teach a dog. So we're going to do a review, and she's on leash trained because the 2-week program goes over all on leash. If I can get them farther along, I start to. And remember, each breed is so unique, along with how old somebody finally starts and what I'm untraining. Now, using treats versus an e-collar is a decision you have to make. You either train one or the other. You don't want to go out there and just correct a dog and not have a high value for what they're going to get in return. Treat training is a secret, meaning if I was in a show ring, I train differently, like more visible, look at me, things like that. But when I'm in the real life world, I can't do that, and I don't want to do that. So I have to prepare them for what we call a marker word. That would be like a whistle for a dolphin, a whistle for a bird dog, such as this girl. And then we train them. That marker word marks the behavior we want, and after the treat will come, not before. Now, in the beginning of training, I might lure it. I might show it to them to get them to respond and get what I want, and I use my marker word paired to the command. I'm going to repeat that one. Marker word paired to the command. So many parents will go, good. We don't even do that to each other. We say, good, come here, good girl, good come, when they're little, when we're little. And our tone matters. So if I've been conditioned like I was to hear Julia in a certain tone, I wasn't coming in there. I don't think half of us would, right? Do we call that stubborn, or do we call that we got conditioned? That tone means even if I didn't mean to, something bad's coming. So you've got to think on using different tones, not paired to trouble or fear. So you'll watch me train in different tones. So first thing would be just always have to have your dog's name. Hold on, I'm having problems with my treat. Now I just got an eye contact from her on her own, so I'm going to mark that with a good. Good, watch me. Good, Hurley. And I'm using the name again because it's really what I want. I want a good name response. Eye contact is name response. Coming over to me is name response. Now you see me with a longer leash for a reason. She's getting further along in her training. So we don't want a 4-foot or a 6-foot. We want to do this with a longer leash and let her be distracted at this point. But you don't want to let her be off the leash and hope that, Scarlett, get back over there. Just a minute. Get up, 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 back in. Good girl. Stay. Good in. Sorry about that. My other dog just thought, well, I'm busy so I can get out now. But you have to always be ready. So you don't want to do these commands until your dog doesn't need a leash, meaning it's in my hands. It doesn't matter. So make sure that when you're first practicing, you're always setting the dog up for success. You know what your training session is going to be about. You know who's going to be involved, and you definitely don't want to take your dog somewhere that you haven't even trained halfway to that level of distraction. So the example would be, let's say if I just trained here at the park all day long and I never went to PetSmart. Well, then I've got to slowly add more distractions. PetSmart's like going to a dog party, right? So if I don't even get name response in my home or name response with distractions, meaning they come to me, Harley, you want them to come to you. So remember, it's a practice repetition, and you're saying good. The next one that really builds up a name response and builds up coming to you is Harley, touch. So it's a marker of the touch. Good touch. Now you see me backing up because touch is not a command that you just stand still with. It's a hand marker, it's a target, and it's also teaching them to come to you. Harley, touch. Good touch. And she's distracted. I don't want her in a sit because that would be not helpful at all, right? I need her to respond to the touch from a distance with a distraction, and I train first with a little bit of distraction. A piece of food being thrown. Hurley, touch. Hurley, touch. Good touch is much, Hurley, good girl. Now think if I didn't have my leash on for that exercise, that would be a nightmare, right? She would have went for it. So I taught her what not to do versus having a bad session and expecting her to understand it, which I don't. So name response, touch is another one. If you've been teaching with food in your hand, I want you to understand the minute that food isn't in your hand, you may not get the same response. That does not make a stubborn dog. That means if you've worked for somebody that's given you money, and the only time they give you money when you work is when it's in their hands, and you learned that, I think you check out with your boss, you got the money today? So remember that the marker word is how you then, with the command, follow through with the treat that comes after. That's an important secret. Don't forget that part. It's hard. It's harder for the humans to do this. It's easy once you get in a repetition of it and you're conscious about it. But remember, we have to learn what to do and what not to do first. So they're a body language reader and they're highly motivated by something. You have to pick that. So I have a treat pouch. I don't hold it in my hand. I come prepared. I know what we're getting ready to do. So now I'm going to teach, I want name, response, touch. Now come. Touch is another form of come, and puppies absolutely love touch, but you have to have a reward that follows that one. Come eventually becomes a command that they know. It's a sequence if you train it right. So when I go to teach come, it's a straight line from wherever my dog is. Now, I don't expect them to know that. And the other human behavior habit is they'll say come, and the dog will come, and they'll walk over here, and then the human jumps over here. Well, no leash, I'm in trouble. I just taught my dog and myself that I'm going to walk over to wherever they're at. Well, if they're running and you need them to come, that doesn't work. So you've got to practice in places, have your treats. I want you to think of fishing. I don't know if any of you have, but normally you'd reel out like this, so you're giving them a leash. The leash stays on one side if you're using a long line, but that's not what we're going over today. And this is a 10-foot leash. So I have to back up and make space and reel her in, sit, when I'm first teaching this, or under high distraction. I want it to where it's a sequence with sit, because then I can say break. Because then I can actually grab a dog if my leash broke. They've got a full come sequence. You never use the word come for a correction. Come here. If that's walking. I want you to also be aware of your words. If I say down, and I'm using down for jumping, come for follow me, but I want them to come straight to me from somewhere else. Two different behaviors. So don't use the same word. They can't understand that unless you really overtrained it, okay? So come is they're not in a sit. You want them distracted. You've already begun teaching this at home and in backyard, garage. So a place like this is a higher distraction. And when you get ready, you back up, come, good, come. And you get them on that straight line, good, come, good girl. Sit, good, sit. And that sit is a sit. Break, always followed with a break or you will ruin your sit stay. So remember, they don't always have to have a sit-stay command. It's an implied stay until another command comes along. Or the free word, which is break, just like it sounds, break. Okay, so that's come when called. Review that. Don't practice this for the first time in distraction. Don't do this without a leash that you can't back up. Practice and know that your dog really understands name response, which is come over to you, pay attention to you. That your dog knows sit, that your dog knows sit, stay, and break. So come. Good girl, good come. You reward the come all the way to you. Sit. Good sit. So there was a truck that just went by and a car and some people and the focus is on me. I guess it was out of the film, I'm sorry. Good, so that's again, come is backing up. Why am I backing up? Because it's a body language a dog understands. Follow me. This isn't a body language necessarily, moving off somewhere, although if you're a pack leader, it does become. But you have to establish your leadership skills. So whenever you're out on a leash, you should never, A, follow the dog wherever they're walking, meaning I'm behind them and they're out walking me. B, they pull you and you walk them all the way right up to whatever they're pulling to. You're rewarding the pulling. C, you always are training in the beginning of a dog's life. Let's go. So now we're going to go right into what leash walking is. Leash walking is you want them on one side. You want to have your own imaginary little box that their four paws will fit in, because that's so important that you as a trainer know where you're teaching them. If I don't know where I want my dog and I'm always staring at my dog, which is another big boo-boo, but 99% of humans do, they walk like this. So there's no leadership in this. It's my shoulders down, I'm looking at you. Who's leading who? The dog, if a dog is a natural leader, then you're not leading, they'll take the lead. So remember, leash walking has so much to it. You can't learn it all on YouTube, but you definitely can learn it from another trainer, and you definitely can practice this. And what happens is everybody thinks leash walking is outside. It's not. It's inside first. Remember that rule. It's inside first. And it's on which side you plan on training the dog to be on. If it's your left side, you want to make sure that's where you paired this word to, right? Paired to the behavior you want. So I'm going to start them out, hopefully with a sit. If they back up like this, then I don't. I'm the leader. Sit. Good, sit. And maybe I have to do that 4 or 5 times. Filming, I can't do that right now, but I would have got this sit pretty straight. And she was sensitive when I first started her. So actually out in this environment, sit. Sorry, I'm losing my voice here. In this environment, it's really good. She's had all kinds of little distraction and she's doing great. Let's go. So as I walk, I want to walk looking where I'm heading. And if they get distracted, you see me turn away. Now remember, the leash is everything. If you're all wrapped up in your leash like this, that isn't training. You can't communicate to your dog. Your equipment is everything. She's on a slip line. You can't do a harness and a retractable. Those aren't training equipments. They actually promote the behavior you don't want. Let's go. You want to have a word, not multiple, so you don't want to have like come on. And as you'll watch, I turn into her as I take my turn in. Now the turn in is for them to actually get out of my space. My boundary in front of my leg is my space. Now I'm not out on a hike, right? I'm training her right now. Let's go. And she wanted to put her nose down on everything, which is really dangerous in this world right now. So you don't want that. The sniff exercise that we talk about is that you take them to a designated spot that you feel safe in, or get them a snuff blanket. Sniffing is their nose. They need it a lot in a day, and they need things to smell, taste, to really grow into a nice, natural, calm dog. But it's a controlled environment for that. So again, let's go through, let's go. Your legs are a boundary. That's for you to know where you're teaching them. Your ankle, your knee is a line up with their head. Off. Good girl. Now see, I'm sitting here talking to you and I totally should have caught that maybe a second ago. So remember that, don't take your attention away. It's like having a toddler. So then whenever I get ready to do the let's go, and now we have people walking by, so I'm going to give her a treat for just paying attention to me, because she was also barking at people, typical for a young dog. Fear barking is normally what it is. So we want to make sure that we create a positive association. Now I'm sitting here teaching you let's go, but I broke the session immediately to train my dog. And remember, every session is a training session. The other thing about let's go is people want to visit your puppy. You can't have them. Your dog has to learn the basic foundation of leash walking first, and that's movement, follow the leader, and that is not every time we're out, it's a greet and meet, because then the attention isn't on the handler. So you set those greet and meets up properly, and the human beings have a lot of rules they don't do. Number 1, they come up and greet your dog while they're on the end of the leash. Hi! Bend down. That means jump, I'm a puppy, jump. And then they go, oh, it's okay, I don't care if they jump on me. Well, it's not okay, because if they jump on somebody with poor skin in a wheelchair, it could cause damage. So we have to be fair for the dog not to get in trouble. Sit. And expect humans to be capable to follow some rules. It's not the dog's fault, it's the human's fault. And that's really important to remember, because most of what you hear when people get rid of dogs is it's all the dog's fault. And in 90% of the cases, it's not. Let's go. So again, I take off, I don't wait on her. I move right into it. I'm getting ready to turn into her. Let's go. Because I'm cutting her right off in that space. That's my space. Now, when I do the sneaky right turn, which is a turn away, it's to speed up. It's to teach them, good girl, you mark that, good, let's go. Good. You don't hear me saying, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Heel, 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 heel. No, you want to mark it. When it's at the right spot, good, let's go. Sit. When you come to a sit, a stop, it's an automatic sit is what you want with an automatic stay. You don't have to say stay. So you practice these exercises, not always in leash walking movement, but just hanging out outside, good stay. Now down, that became a verbal down, which I finally got because she's just getting ready to do it. Good girl. Break, down. Now, why I don't recommend this whole signal and have them at a sit, because in your life, real world, that doesn't happen. You need them to know down could be a savior. I had the client, I always taught down in my group classes, and I taught them as a quick down. So they stand and go down. So first they learn it by a sit, and then down, right? They know it with a signal as much as break. They know the release word. And then down, down. I give them 3 seconds for a reaction, and I'll tell you why in a second. Good, it's paired, but it's also, this took us a week and a half to get. So remember, I had her popping up, popping up, popping up, me going down, marking it with a word, down, down, good down, marked it, and treat. And I may have done that 10 times in one day, different times, multiple repetition. That's not unusual, that's normal. And so then once I get that, I start adding distractions, toys in the room, people in the room. Then after I get that, I start taking it different places like here. Because you've got to have what first before you can talk to your dog? Attention. You have to have, secondly, leadership and a plan. They're never the ones to make the decision. Otherwise, it gets them very confused. Break! Because they are a pack animal. And we're also teaching them something that us humans need, not what the dogs need. Think of going into a gorilla's environment with a bunch of gorillas, and they aren't going to give you more than 24 hours of an education of all the do's, the don'ts, the needs. We would fail. I know we would. And it would be so stressful when they got mad and pointed at us and showed us, hey, I told you not to do this. But in a human habit, maybe peeling something open and eating it is normal for us, where they would eat it all as one piece. Or picking bugs out of each other's hair. So you got to think about what we're trying to ask our beautiful dogs to do. We have to give them more opportunities. And in a lot of rescues, they don't train because they don't, it's just they haven't for years. And the problem is then a dog goes from one home to another home to another home. No one training. Behaviors are just going to get worse. Who would hate that, right? So we owe it to our dogs to, under any situation, have some commands that they can understand and do. And you also, to get a dog calm that's normally hyper, isn't about drugging them up and putting them on drugs. It's about doing exercises, and plenty of exercise for them as well. So this girl needs at least an hour and a half of running, maybe 2. My shepherd, she was a black shepherd, black and tan. Even up until she was 12, it was at least 2 hours of walking a day. And if I didn't do that, she was hyper crazy, because she would have been bred to work 12 hours a day. So we have to incorporate routines for them that include things for their oral, lots of chewing, not stuffed animal chewing like hard bones like bully sticks, not rawhide. We stuffed Kongs, just all kinds of little activities. Out in your yard, you have to have something for them to do out there too. The other complaint is, oh, they're digging in the yard. Yeah, they probably are. They're going to get bored. What do you think a kid would do all alone? Nothing in the yard. They'd have the fence down, the grass torn up. I mean, that's an easy one. So remember, dogs aren't even used to being alone, and we have to acclimate and show them how to handle that. So we've got the name response, we've got touch, we've got come, we've got let's go, which you pick which side it's on. Then you have your marker words, good, let's go, or good, come, let's go. A marker word to say, no, that's the wrong choice. You got 3 seconds to make it right and get them to follow you. Now, our down can become a 20-minute, 30-minute. My dogs eventually get to where until they hear that release word, they don't get up. Now, it's much different if you have trained properly with an e-collar, but not all dogs are good with e-collars, and not all humans want to use them. So you have to have an understanding of what you're going to do to help this dog have some reward. And I say it because so many people come to me and don't want to do that. And you've got to understand, we're all about rewards as humans. That's why we do what we do with work. So you've got to think, well, what would you love? Now, being outdoors is fun, having different activities is fun, but learning to stay in an environment like this isn't always easy, right? Because there's so much to do. Down. So you heard me do the paired verbal with a down. Don't just do the Good, down. Now, if I were to get barking right here, just FYI, I wouldn't stick with my downstay. Why? Well, first of all, my dog's really distracted doing what he thinks she's supposed to be doing, guarding. And a lot of times it's fear, is they're just babies getting to know all these weird looking things and weird looking people and different size colors, hats. So you have to think, oh, that's a training moment. I'm not going to go towards them, but I'm going to utilize it. How will we do that? Let's go. Go right into walking. Sorry. Let's go. Good girl. Sit. Good, Hurley. Good, sit. Now remember, it's an implied sit. So if she gets up, it's a sit. Good. We're getting less and less with the leash. And that's when you know, I'm so sorry. That's when you know that you're getting a dog to understand the command to the behavior, but also understand it in any environment. So if I taught this today and I had down, a great down. And tonight I'm going to have 20 people over, break, and do a party. This wouldn't be the same. I wouldn't even expect her to respond the same. So I would have to set everything up anytime I go anywhere with my dog and think about the environment, how distractive, medium, low. Have I trained in the low, medium, and high distraction? Then I have to think what her stresses are or what she's never encountered. If she just saw, 20 dogs and has never seen them before, that would be pretty hard. So I would make sure I didn't get too close and I had a high enough reward that it would outweigh anything like it would for us. So be good humans. If you like and can, follow or share. My ultimate goal in this world right now is, if you knew the numbers of dogs that are euthanized, this has always been my goal, but even more now, is really bad, and we have no breeding laws. So I'm talking over 3.9 million a year. That means we need to work as a team and start training our dogs everywhere. Even if you helped at a foster, help, but train, not just foster. They need us to teach them how to live in our world, and we have to succeed with that. So anyways, this was for a parent. I'm sorry I went off a little bit there. If you have any questions, please reach out to me, and be a good human.